Dunes are our best defence against coastal erosion. They're nature's seawalls.
Climate change is a threat on the coastline across Australia and across the world. What climate change could bring to our coastline is more intense storms that are happening more regularly. So what that means is more risk of coastal erosion and more risk to our key assets and properties.
The coastal dune system acts as a big reserve of sand that can be sacrificed during big storm events that actually protect our property. One way that we really can focus on increasing our resilience to climate change and coastal erosion is to focus on keeping our dune systems healthy and vibrant. There are three main parts to a coastal dune system. At the very front of the dune system, you have what's called the incipient dune. So that's right at the front of the foredune, and that's where you get a lot of vines and a lot of crawlers, and a lot of low-lying vegetation that really help to trap sand. Behind that incipient dune system, when you get to that first big mound, that's actually called the foredune. That acts as that big coastal buffer of sand in between humans and infrastructure and tides and waves. The third part is called the hind dune. So that's what lives behind the foredune, and it usually lives in a little depression. And this area has two important purposes. The first is to house some of those taller trees and shrubs that deflect wind. And the second part is they have nice, big, deep root systems that help to bind the sand dune system from within. Coastal dunes, because they live on the foreshore, the plants that live within those dune systems are really resilient and are really built to deal with tides and waves and winds. It's actually not really well built to deal with human impacts.
So it's really important for the people that are visiting our beaches to understand the role of the dunes and respect that dune environment. Unofficial access tracks that people might have from the back of their properties or just on a normal dune itself. When a lot of people are using those tracks, it's not enabling vegetation to establish, and that means there's a weak point in the dune where it's just sand, and that's much more easily erodable because we don't have that healthy dune environment. Council has beach access tracks that are managed, and they are the key points that our community and visitors should be using to access the beach.
So another big issue that faces coastal dune systems is the prevalence of weeds. Those plant species are actually foreign to a coastal dune environment. So they're not built to withstand the tough, harsh coastal conditions like native dune vegetation is. One way that we can really try and reduce the impact of these weeds is to make sure that we don't take our mower clippings or take our garden clippings and toss them into the dune system. Other things that can impact the health of the dune system include vegetation vandalism. This is where people sometimes can either poison trees or cut down trees in order to improve their view of the beach. You can actually be putting your own property at risk because you've lowered the resilience of the dune system in front of your property. If you look after your dune system, it will look after you.
If anyone's really inspired, there's dune care and bush care groups where you can volunteer and really help out with the management of our dunes. Council does a lot of work in the dunal environment, but we need the help of our community. If we can work together with our community, we've got the best chance for the successful management of our dunes.